Hello and welcome to BioRules video lessons. Today we are going to be talking about the vessels, the cells that make the xylem and the phloem. So for starts, we are going to be drawing here the little straw, which is the xylem cell. If we take a look on this diagram over here, we are going to see that the xylem actually is a series of tubes that are hollow inside. They have an external wall, an external shell, and inside there's nothing anymore. Once upon a time this was a cell with cell wall, cytoplasm, but now there's just the cell wall. And in between them you have this connection. They may be perforated like the ones you have there, they may be totally hollow, but the idea is that the xylem is going to be these straws, hollow tubes through which the water is going to be passing by. This is the idea of the xylem. And to highlight, they are empty. They have no cytoplasm. That means that the xylem is made of dead cells. That's one of the reasons why every year the plants have to make new xylem. Because under stress of the movement of the plant twisting here, twisting there, the cells end up damaging their walls. But in the case of the phloem or any other plant cells, these cell walls, they can be replaced. The cell is alive, goes there and fix it. But in the case of the xylem, because those cells are dead, they cannot be fixed. So they are made, and 1 year later they are old. They may have some punctures, so they need to be made again, and made again every single year. Okay? So, how is the transport of chemicals happening through the xylem? The idea is the negative pressure. So we saw it before that the transpiration pool creates a negative pressure in the leaves by transpiration of the water through the stomas. This negative pressure is going to cause a pool, and it's going to be sucking the water up through the xylem. So this negative pressure is the most important way that the water is moved along the plant. So that's the transpiration pool. So the water is pulled over there and is sucked up, and it moves just like when we suck water through a little straw. That's the idea. Another way that helps for the water and ions to flow in the xylem is the adhesion to the wall. I'm not going to get much into details here, because this first you have to study biochemistry, the properties of water, but just for you to have an idea, this adhesion makes that the water have a tendency on climbing over walls. So they try to climb over the walls over here, and in the xylem that helps a little bit with the movement of the water up. That's another way that you see later. Okay? So, here you have xylems on the left and we have phloem on the right. If you look like this, it's quite impossible to distinguish between them. They look like straws. The difference that the phloem will have a cytoplasm, it will be alive, and we are going to very often find one phloem cell with a companion cell. Companion cell is going to be a smaller cell that will help the phloem to perform its functions. So, how the phloem then moves chemicals around the plant? Okay, one way for you to try to think is that they, instead of being a suction that moves the water just by the negative pressure up to the top of the tree, this is going to be more an active process. Okay, this is called translocation. And the idea is that the source, which is a leaf in this case, is going to be pushing chemicals, sugars mainly, into the companion cell. This is done actively, it requires energy, okay, it's an active transport. The companion cell is going to be pushing those chemicals, those sugars, inside the phloem cytoplasm. And then this makes that water end up moving to inside here. This is called osmosis. We will learn this next semester, but just for you to have an idea, this is a movement to happen. If you pump sugar inside of there, water, you end up moving over there, and that creates a positive pressure. And if you have a positive pressure, the water will move away, and the water, of course, is going to be carrying the chemicals that are dissolved into it to away of the source, in this case in the direction of the sink. When it gets there into the sink, then the sugar is transported to the companion cell, and then from the companion cell it's transported to the end of the way. In this case is the root. But when you say source, it's almost always we are talking about the leaves, but when we are talking about the sink, it can be roots, but it can also be the stem, it can also be a flower, it can also be a fruit. So the source is the place where the chemicals are produced, typically on the leaves. And the sink is the place where those chemicals are consumed. So places that don't do photosynthesis, like roots, stem, flowers, and fruits. That's the way that the plants move sugars around. This process called translocation. Okay? So, now it's time for a few exercises. If you point your cell phone camera to this QR code, you're going to be opening the quiz and you're going to be able to do a few questions to test your learning. You can also type the link that's below the QR code to do this exercise. Have fun.